Hello and welcome to 2020 and the important matter at hand, Gameweek 21. This is Breakfast Club, brought to you from fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. My name is Joe and today I'm joined by David. David, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm exhausted though because we're at the end of this marathon that is the Christmas period in FPL, and it's just been manic. It's just been in the famous words of Brenda, it's just been too much football been going on right now. Not another one, but it's good. We're gonna have an FA Cup. Oh, sorry,
Ooh,
things falling around behind me.
this
Yeah,
is the chaos of New Year.
yeah. We're at the end of like I said, a bit of a slog. So it'd be good to have a bit of a break once this is over. Watch a bit of FA Cup third round and collect ourselves. Of course, I mean the thing is, I'm sure a lot of people have enjoyed this more than me. I'm not trying to put a down on it, but I've just had a very bad Christmas FPL wise as well. So it's yeah, it's very hard to be too enthused at this point. But you know, one good game week and maybe it puts a different spin on Christmas.
Okay, so what's going to come up on the show is we're going to reveal the lunchtime team sheets. We've got two matches on at 12:30, so 11:30 we've got those team sheets coming in. We'll also reveal our captaincy transfer plans if we made any, and we'll go with you first. And you mentioned about having a bad Christmas FPL wise. Well, I've actually worked out what you need to avoid having a bad Christmas. So
Thank you.
I like the mini seasons. We're in a mini season now. 18 game weeks 18 to 21. We're 3/4 of the way through. There's still a match to go. Still a set of fixtures to go within that. So let's have a look. Here is your team. Now I've worked out that you have got 145 points so far in your mini season. I set 200 points as the minimum for not having a bad Christmas in FPL, and you need 55 points. So very achievable. So let's have a look at your team. Tell us about any transfers, captaincies, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I made a decision about 3 or 4 weeks ago that I probably was gonna try and avoid KDB over Christmas because I thought there's no way he's gonna start all four because it's such a tight turnaround period, and you know he's kind of managed his minutes before and he had the injury last year. And obviously that just ruined Christmas, you know, because he's just absolutely he's just torn it up. 2 double-figure hauls in 4 game weeks, started all the matches, and turned in all of them, and it's just a rank killer, a huge rank killer.
He's a rank killer when you own him and don't captain him.
Yeah. So that's it. People captained him in. So going into the final game of the last game week, I was on about 100k rise because a lot of people had stuff not come through. But I had, I had goals for Abraham. I got an assist out of Richarlison. I got something out of Lucas Moura as well. I had enough bits and bobs to be on for a 100k rank rise, and then De Bruyne happened, and I dropped 200k below my starting point. So it dropped me 300k from my live rank. It's just ridiculous. It's just crazy. So I've finally got him in.
Yeah.
It's annoying because I was thinking about getting him in for the last game week because I could do Ali to De Bruyne and like straight swap, but Ali had Norwich, De Bruyne had a Sheffield United team that likes to frustrate people.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it, so I did nothing to bank in 2 transfers, which I felt was important because I think I might have to do a bit. I don't really want to use my wild card in January, but I need to make some changes. So 2 free transfers was obviously going to help. And yeah, it completely burned me. Ali could have got something. It was a bit unlucky. But then, of course, De Bruyne got the goal and the assist with a little bit of help from the referee by the sounds of it.
So Ali's gone.
So Ali has now gone.
For De Bruyne.
I had for De Bruyne. And so I could have got either Richarlison or Ali out for De Bruyne. And I was originally going to go Richarlison because I thought, the fixture's quite tough. But then I did some comparison tool work and basically found some rather interesting sort of information. Obviously, I wrote the Captain Sensible article as well. In that, basically, in the last 4 game weeks, Man City have been in the bottom 5 or bottom 6 for big chances conceded and XGC as well. So I kind of started to consider that actually going to Man City right now for Everton, I don't think is a difficult fixture because they're in particularly good form. And to be honest, I can't really do it this week because I'm quite happy with my centre forwards. But if you're looking at signing Calvert-Lewin and you were planning on doing it next week, I'd do it now because, you know, I think he's joint third for shots in the box right now. He's joint third for shots on target right now. Man City's defence doesn't look particularly great. I know they obviously kept the clean sheet against Sheffield United, but I do think that Everton, with the resurgence they're going to have with Carlo Ancelotti, I think they can definitely get something. So yeah, I looked at the defences of Southampton at home and found that in the last 4 home matches, Southampton have conceded fewer big chances than Man City in their last 4. They've got a better XGC in that period as well. So I was starting to think, well, actually, Spurs away at Southampton might actually be harder for Spurs, especially as they didn't look great against Norwich, than Everton away at Man City. And then what I also did was I then compared Richarlison in his last 4 away with Ali in his last 4 away, and basically found that Richarlison was having more big chances, more shots on target. Ali had a slightly better assist potential, but not by a massive amount. And of course, obviously, Richarlison slightly cheaper, and in this particular game, we had a better fixture. So even though Richarlison was my initial, right, he's going to be how I get KDB, bearing in mind I already have Mora, so I'm to some extent got something if Spurs, turn it on and Southampton crumble. So yeah, and I've got a bit of a sneaky feeling about this Everton team that, with the fixtures they've got, holding on to Richarlison, I felt was probably better long term when you consider that Spurs in the next game week have Liverpool. So it felt a bit counterintuitive, but I couldn't really argue with the numbers. I couldn't argue with the data, so I went with that. I'd rather trust the data than my own judgment right now.
I mean, we talked about Everton on the Scoutcast earlier this week, and for me and Andy were thinking that we have to alter our attitude to some Everton players, and in particular Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin is actually a really good striker. He's posting great underlying stats, but for myself, I don't have a striker spot. I wish I could play 4 strikers. I'd get Calvert-Lewin in. So I can see why you got Richarlison, and if I was to get an Everton attacker, I'd probably do the same, because I just can't fit Calvert-Lewin in anywhere. Do I get rid of Rashford? Do I get rid of Jamie Vardy? Do I get rid of Jimenez for Calvert-Lewin?
And I've got Abraham and Ings, and I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Everybody's all thinking it, because there's 4 or 5 template strikers right now.
Because no matter who you've got, they're all quite good. And I noticed you got Tammy Abraham in your side. The goals imminent table last time out was saying that Tammy Abraham and Pookie were the ones to score. Pookie VAR intervened very kindly, but Abraham spared some blushes there. I'm going to put the goals imminent table up a bit later, but Abraham, I'm going to do a spoiler here. Abraham's still there, so if you still got him, and they are away, and
he's 13 shots in the box last 4, second best in the whole league.
Now, in terms of leaked team sheets, at 11:30 we're going to get the team sheets. Now, we've been following FPL Rockstar on Twitter. He's been very accurate with his team sheets, coming out about 10 minutes, quarter of an hour before. Another guy, Unsubscribe, who is also posting up the team sheets and unnervingly accurate. And he is saying that Abraham is starting. He also saying Willian is, and Tomori is being benched. There are rumours at this stage. I'm not saying that is accurate. I'm saying this is what Unsubscribe on Twitter is telling us, and he gets the FPL Rockstar seal of approval. So for those that like their Twitter rumours, that's it. We'll find out in 5 minutes. You're captaining Jamie Vardy. Why is that?
Yeah, so I really like the look of Salah, but I kind of just felt that Vardy had the easier fixture. So I mean, again, so if people want to understand the full detailed reason why I've gone for Vardy, then there's a lot of information in the Captain Sensible article. I'll try and summarise it best I can. So last 4 last 4 matches, Salah top of the league for shots in the box, second for big chances total, and joint top for shots on target. But at the same time, Sheffield United are in the top 3 or 4 for basically a whole host of defensive statistics. Shots conceded in the box, big chances conceded, XGC, and that includes a trip to Man City. So that shows you how good their defence is. So I wonder if they're going to really, really make Liverpool work for it. Vardy is not quite as statistically exciting, I think, as Salah. So 11 shots in the box last 4, so that's 4 fewer. 3 big chances, so 1 fewer. And 6 shots on targets, 2 fewer.
Are these the 4 matches he's played rather than...
Yeah, these are the 4 matches he's played in, I should say.
Game weeks,
but of course, the caveat on those numbers, whilst they're not as good as Salah's, is that, of course, in that run was 1 game against Liverpool and 1 game against Man City where he didn't really get to do very much. Obviously, he scored against Man City, but Leicester didn't really have a great deal of serious, threatening possession in either game. So it's kind of hard to say that, so really when I factor that in, he's probably in a similar level to Salah. And basically when you compare the Newcastle defence with the Sheffield United defence, it's kind of no comparison. Last four matches, Sheffield United have conceded just 19 shots in the box. That's including a game against Man City, whereas Newcastle have conceded 39. They conceded 20 more shots in the box over their last four. They conceded 9 big chances, which is more than Sheffield United just conceded 3. Against Man City and 3 other teams, just 3 big chances. It's incredible. And Newcastle's XGC 7.83, possibly slightly influenced by the Man United game. But given the form that Vardy is capable of continuing, I think, because of the underlying statistics, it was kind of, I couldn't find a reason not to captain him. And, they need to get a result. The first team hasn't played since the Liverpool game. So the fact that they beat West Ham with their reserves, I don't really think that's not the reaction. Yeah. The reaction from Leicester is going to be this game because pretty much the entire first team had the day off against West Ham. So lots of points to prove, stats to back it up as well. So Vardy for me.
You can play FPL in 2 levels. One, don't overthink it, and one, do overthink it and have a look at those stats and those things like that. But both of those strategies lead me to Vardy. One, don't overthink it. As you said, they rested the whole first team. I cannot get the image of him doing a newborn baby celebration where he scores out of my head. And Newcastle aren't that good. Now, and this is the bit where you go, oh, hang on a minute. Let's have a look at some more things. Let's start overthinking this. Well, okay, Newcastle, we know what they're like away because we saw with Manchester United. We've seen over the season. But the theory is that Newcastle at home, they are much better. So they could stifle Vardy. Hang on a minute. So I had a look at last 4 home matches. So this isn't last 4 matches in general. This is just specifically homing in on what Newcastle are like at home recently. And there's only one team that has an expected goals conceded higher than them. So there's only one team that's worse than them at home, and that's Villa. So Villa, their expected goals conceded last 4 home matches is 9.45. And Newcastle 8.86. So this isn't necessarily what they conceded, this is what they were expected to concede. So if they are then faced with a Jamie Vardy preparing his baby celebration, I just think it's got to be Jamie Vardy. Just has to be. We'll come to my team shortly, but I will reveal that I've also captained Jamie Vardy because I've both overthought it and not overthought it. It's just thought about it in general. In about 1 minute, we should be getting the team sheets through. So I just had a look. As you said about Tomori, I briefly, whilst you were talking there, dallied with the idea of moving him out with my other free transfer for Johnny Evans. But I don't really like making transfers without doing full research. I've left it. But this is the thing that happens when you get this news sometimes come through, and we feel like it's reliable. Sometimes people do make a last-minute transfer, and I nearly did, but I just can't bring myself to it. Okay, so
apologies.
This is the beauty of it being on New Year's Day. We need that, really. So, there's been a few rumours, lots of rumours flying out. We mentioned a few of those. It's 11:30 now. So, do we have any of those team sheets? I'll just remind people who is playing at 12:30. Brighton against Chelsea. And Burnley against Villa. So they are playing at 12:30. Meanwhile, for the 3 o'clocks, we have plenty more football action to come, as they would say on something like a national radio station. And we've got Newcastle against Leicester. We've already mentioned Southampton against Spurs, Watford against Wolves, Man City against Everton, Norwich, Palace, West Ham, Bournemouth. They are at 5:30. Norwich, Palace 5:30 tonight, and 8 o'clock tonight. Arsenal against Manchester United. Meanwhile, the final game of the game week the final match of the game week is Thursday, and it's tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Liverpool against Sheffield United. Do we have those team sheets then, those early ones?
Yes, we do, and it does look as if unsubscribe should be subscribed to, because it looks like they got it bang on. And Tomori not in the match squad at all, so maybe I should have sold him for Johnny Evans. Because my bench is Target and Lundstrom, both flagged currently. So we will see. But yes, the Chelsea team. So Kepa in goal. It looks like Azpilicueta at left back, Zuma and Rudiger at centre back, Reece James at right back. Then Kante and Jorginho, I believe, in a deeper role in 4-2-3-1.
Okay.
Mount, Willian, and Pulisic as the three behind Tammy Abraham. And on the bench is Lamptey again, who I think is 4 million defender. And no Tomori. So we'll see what's happened there. I mean, the fact that Tomori's not in the squad at all suggests to me he's probably got an injury.
Lamptey sounds like something you offer Frank Lampard when he comes round. Like, lamp tea?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Carry
on. No. We need more of those puns, absolutely. But yeah, we'll try and do some digging on Tomori and find out why he's not there. Then let's have a look at Brighton then, as that's who they're playing. We've got Ryan in goal, Byrne, Webster, Dunk, Montoya as the back four, Proper, Moy, Basuma as a midfield three, and then Alzati, Trossard, and Mope as a front three, which means places on the bench for Dale Stevens, Pascal Gross, Ali Reza Jahanbash, and Aaron Connolly. So, the usual rotation from Graham Potter. Let's look at Burnley now. So, Pope in goal, Taylor, me, Tarkowski, and Bardsley as back four, McNeil, Westwood, Cork, and Brady as the midfield four, and then Barnes and Wood as the strikers. Then Aston Villa, Heaton in goal. We've got Mings is back. I got to be honest, I'm not entirely sure who's playing at. Oh, it looks like they're playing a back five. Well, we've got Neil.
Yeah, so it looks like it's like three at the back, but a potential back five. So
yes, yeah. So Taylor at left back, or left wing back possibly. Frederick Gilbert at the right. Then a back three of Konsa, Mings, and Courtney House. Then I would imagine. I mean, it probably is a 3-4-3. I imagine, because you've then got Louise and Nakamba as central midfielders, and then Wesley flanked by Trezeguet and Grealish. And then on the bench, Harahan, El Ghazi, and no place in the squad at all for Target. So just for context for my team, that means John Lundstrom is going to come into my team because, no one else can come in for Tomori. So mixed for me, but, possibly some good news for other people if they've got Chelsea or Grealish, or some people are sort of worried that he might not play or whatever. So, that's the team news.
Okay, so for FPL wise, I mean, amongst the Grealish is someone I've been hanging on to just for this game week. He's going to be out after this one, but I thought, why not? I'll give him a go. So I'll put my team up now. Target being out, well, he was my second sub anyway. I had to go Dendonka deep last time, right down to my third spot in the for game week 20. So game week 21, that is annoying actually, because I could do with the odd 1 point as I try and I'm trying to get 24 points. So over Christmas so far I've had a sort of up and down, but I've got 176 points so far in my festive mini season. I've got 24 points to get. As when I hit that 24 points mark, then I can deem myself to have had not a bad Christmas. Anything more is a bonus. Anything less, it's a bad Christmas. So I've gone for Pope in goal. I've gone for Sionju, Rico, and Alexander Arnold, and then I've gone for in my 3-4-3 Salah, Ali, De Bruyne, Grealish. And then up front, I've got Vardy captain, Rashford, Jimenez. And on my bench, which I'll probably need, I've got Foster, Lundstrom, Target, who's not playing. And I'm going to have to go Dendonka deep again by the looks of things. I have made no transfers. I could have done Grealish to Traore. The two players... So basically what I'm looking at, really, with that team is less about this game week. I just want this game week done. I want to get my 24 points... move on and then take a bit of a break, and then game week 22 will be upon us, the next mini season. So what I'm looking at really is what we spoke about on the Scoutcast. I'm looking at the next mini season, and that the key game week in that is game 24. Liverpool and West Ham both play. So long term, I'm thinking about that. I'm looking at I have Salah, I have Alexander Arnold. I don't know which is going to be my third. Will it be Mane? Will it be Firmino? Will it be Robertson? Will it be Gomez? I don't know yet. But I want to make moves from now on that give me the flexibility to choose. So, so looking at my Liverpool double up, still just undecided. If I went for Robertson or Van Dijk in alongside my Salah and TAA, That's easy. Ali and Grealish expendable, I think, at the moment. And money saved there can upgrade Target, who is definitely expendable. And there we go, easily done. I can get the likes of Traore in, another midfielder, and then boom, done. That's easily done by then. Mane in is a bit tricky. Mane in alongside Salah and TAA is less easy but doable, and I don't rule it out. But a sacrifice needs to be made, and that a good player has to go. With getting Robertson in, I don't have to, I just can get rid of some players I'm not particularly that keen on at the moment. Mane inside there, so I'm looking at Ali and Grealish out anyway, but also probably Jimenez would have to make way. Wolves play Liverpool, of course, anyway, so I'm just hedging my bets that he's not going to score against Liverpool, but Liverpool's defence until recently has been shaky, and Jimenez is the postman. He always delivers. But if I've got Traore in, I've got genuine coverage, I think. So this is something to think about. Last season, Fraser and Wilson had both. Brilliant. Because they just assisted and scored each other. They helped each other's goals. And the same is happening this time. Every time you see a Jimenez goal, it's Traore. Every time you see a Jimenez assist, it's a Traore goal. So that's what I'm looking to. So all roads next week lead to Grealish to Traore. That's just going to happen. So unless there's something different. What slightly put me off this week were a couple of reasons. One is that I do like Watford at the moment. And I do think Watford will be slightly trickier. Could be famous last words, but I just don't see that. And another reason, here we go. I'll go right the way down to the goals imminent table. And so last week, Abraham scored, got his goal, but he's still on there because you need more than one goal to come off this table. Pookie scored, VAR rolled it out. There is another name added to this. It's Pookie, Abraham and Grealish. Grealish is due a goal, according to the goals imminent table. They've gone for a 3/5 at the back. They've changed their formation slightly. They've changed their personnel slightly. This is a make or break game for Villa. It's a make or break game. Well, it's not a make or break game for Grealish. He's going to be out of my team anyway. So that's why I think if I look at goals imminent table, I tend to look at it and think, I don't necessarily think, I'm going to get this player in. But if I own that player on there, like we were saying, like Abraham, for example, I was on Breakfast Club before. Luke had got rid of Abraham, and I had to deliver the news that goals imminent table had said that Abraham is due a goal. And guess what? He scored. So I think that can happen, really. But yeah, do you have any other thoughts? So what are you doing, sort of gearing up to Gameweek 24? Are you keeping your powder dry for that, or have you got a set plan in place?
I don't have a set plan yet. I mean, I'm very much like you in that there's a little while to go. So I just want to try and keep my options as open as possible. I think if I had to sort of pick a plan now, I think the targets I'd be looking at would probably be Firmino and Antonio. I mean, I suppose, you've already sort of touched on the Liverpool assets, so I won't double up on what you said. I agree with pretty much everything you said there. There's options available everywhere. You just got to leave yourself flexible. But, in that kind of like third or fourth midfield bracket, I potentially could have an opening for Antonio because I've got Moura right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Double game weeks are always they always subvert your expectations, don't they? So then it means that often the lesser team that's getting to play twice sometimes has someone who does really well. So, for example, West Ham in 2 games with Fabianski back in the team. I mean, we could be looking at a double game week hero because he's going away to Leicester where he's going to be absolutely shell-shocked. He's going to have shots left, right and centre anyway because it's West Ham, but of course because it's Leicester and Vardy. And then, of course, home against Liverpool, so there's going to be loads of shots there as well. So I don't know if I can necessarily see Fabianski keeping a clean sheet in both, but he doesn't necessarily really have to keep one in either to maybe get like 10 points. So, and with West Ham's fixtures looking quite nice and David Moyes coming back in, possibly an option. And then Antonio as well was more on my radar before Pellegrini was sacked than he is now, because obviously Pellegrini had been using him as a centre forward. And he hadn't played every game over Christmas, but that was a bit of rotation. But pretty much for the entire season, whenever Antonio's been fit, he's been one of the few players who actually looked like he was bothered. And he's a player I really like because he works really hard in such a way that he's just very direct. You always kind of know what you're going to get with him, which is great. I picked him obviously as my Scoutcast differential recently. He got an assist the game week after I selected him, so there's something there. But of course, the reason why I'm slightly less sure now is obviously with the the old manager coming back. From memory, I can't really remember if he used Antonio too much as a centre forward because he really used Arnautovic as one, and I think he played right back once or twice.
I'm thinking as well. So from my memory, I think it was Moyes' time when Masuaku suddenly became quite an option.
Yeah, he was playing on the left wing.
And I'm within spitting distance of getting Masuaku, definitely. So I want to see where he's going there because he's a cheap defender, but possibly playing
another double game week option.
Possibly playing as a winger. That's another option I'm thinking of really. You've got to be looking for attacking returns. Snodgrass is the most creative at the moment. Will he keep his place? Will he remain the most creative? Fornals as well is looking promising. These aren't bad players. West Ham aren't. Well, they are bad, but they're not bad, if you see what I mean. They've got good players.
Yeah, they shouldn't be bad.
They shouldn't be bad. They shouldn't be where they are. They've got good players. They've got good defenders. They've got Rice there. They've got probably the best goalkeeper in the Premier League in Fabianski at the moment.
Oh, yeah, I think he is, yeah.
I mean, I've got Foster in, so obviously I think Foster's better. But Fabianski is good as well, and I don't rule out getting him in for the double game if I've got any transfers left. But yeah, they can. I don't have any expectations West Ham, so any points is fine. And I do like a double game week, so that's why I'm leaning toward a Liverpool double defence because it does leave a space in midfield for one of those. And I've had Payet before and various other West Ham midfielders that have done all right in double game weeks. So who knows? Hey, there was an article on, before we go, there was an article on Fantasy Football Scout that I loved, which was done by David Wardell, who wrote the Wasting a Wildcard book and contributes regularly to Fantasy Football Scout. And it was about the Fantasy Premier League legends of the decade. So as one decade has gone, and we're looking back, and it was great stuff, really, looking at some of the... great players. So big picture of Aguero there. Obviously, Aguero has defined the decade, really. Remember his 5 goals against Newcastle and so many times. Basically, if you had or didn't have Aguero, that dictated not just your game week, it dictated your season. Because, I mean, I remember one game week and I went from something like near the edge of 200,000 to top 5,000. That's the power of Aguero. I think it was that 5-goal match. But it got me thinking, and I'll come to you in a sec, see your kind of favourite FPL moments, but I've got 2 or 3 here. So first one is Sessegnon against your team Reading. It was in a double game week.
Don't remind me, Joe.
But it was amazing. I've never experienced a moment like this in FPL since. So, who knows. So he was an unlikely armbandy, well captained amongst the Fantasy Football Scout community. I think we were the only bunch there. You still wasn't very well captained. Many of us also had Carlos Cuela in defence. Okay. So this was another Fantasy Football Scout anomaly community there. And the double game week had gone badly. It was a double game week. Sunderland had a double game week. Then in the final few minutes of Sunderland against Reading, I think it was 2013. It was around about then. Sessegnon suddenly scores. He scores and Cuela assisted him. Suddenly, the fantasy, it was like VE day. It was incredible. It was it was unbelievable. I still to this day cannot believe there weren't street parties taking place for a week afterwards. But it was one of those moves where basically it was a very much a sort of fantasy Premier League community pick had waited to the final minute to do something. And it was amazing. My second one is Drogba hat-trick on the final day. I cannot remember the year. Lampard was playing then, handed him the penalty ball so that he could complete his hat-trick and become the Golden Boot winner that year. That basically meant that I won all my cash mini leagues. I won the Fantasy Football Scout Cup, and I can't remember what threshold it was, but it was something like top 5k or top 10k or something like that. But basically that was the power of that Drogba moment, and lots of people went for Van Persie captain that day, and lots of other people went for Drogba like me, so it was one of those 50-50 shots. And the third one is something I digged out, which was my first article for Fantasy Football Scout. Look at it, it's all black and white, perhaps sepia. And I was looking, and it was all about John Arne Risa. So I'm not old enough for it to write about Risa in his glory Liverpool days. This was when he came back from Roma to play for Fulham, and we were watch listing him to see if he can unleash those howitzers he was so famous for at Liverpool, at Fulham. The fact I can't remember whether he did any good there suggests that he didn't. But nevertheless, that was way back in 2011. John Risa, my shameful first article. I was hoping it would be something exciting, but it wasn't. But yeah, David, what about you? You obviously saw the article that David wrote, the other David. What have been your favourite FPL moments of the decade?
Yeah, I mean, I have a few. I mean, I suppose I have to start with Aguero. I mean, it sounds a bit basic, but yeah, I captained him on the day he scored 5 against Newcastle, and that was, as you say, such a seismic shift in the rankings that day. I can't really remember where it took me to, but it was definitely a year that I did very well against my friends and got a lot of money off them, basically because of that. The other one that Aguero did that was fantastic. I actually mentioned this on the first episode of the Scoutcast I was ever on. Was that he actually scored the 4 goals against Leicester when he was my captain on the day my second daughter was born. And
double celebration.
It was double celebration. The Monday household was wow. Like you said, I'm surprised there weren't street parties. Like you said,
there were.
The way it panned out was obviously, sort of we're in the hospital, and I put my phone on silent, and we were sort of like, going through the process of, the hard work of the baby being born. And I could see my phone kept lighting up. And at the back of my mind, I was like, I really want to check it. I was like, oh, no, I need to focus. My daughter's nearly here. And, I mean, I'm joking. I mean, there wasn't really that much of a pull to the phone, but I just kind of, at the back of my mind, noticed that phone's been lighting up quite a lot. I wonder what's going on. And then obviously, about 2 hours later, once everything had calmed down, I was sat there. My wife was recovering. I had my daughter in my arms. I'll just check my phone and see what happened. And just 4 notifications: Aguero. And it was just like,
it's one of those beautiful moments that only an FPL manager would understand. You'll buy your wife's side. She's giving birth, and then you just got your phone to one side, going, "Hang on a minute."
Yeah,
Aguero.
That was the real quiz.
I remember when my just as an aside, when my second son was born, he's 10 years old. I remember Leighton Bates scored at about the same time, lunchtime kickoff.
Is he called Leighton? Or?
No, it was a double celebration, obviously.
Yeah, it was quite funny because my mate said, "You're not going to call her Sergio Aguero," but I was never going to get that one through, was I?
No.
I'm surprised that you didn't mention this one, Joe. The only other one that I remember quite fondly, I can't remember whether or not I had Pella and Tadic or just Pella, but the Southampton beating Sunderland 8-0, I think, was possibly the same day as the Aguero 5 goals.
That's what I had, and that was one of those fantasy football scout moments, because Tadic, Pella were just backed heavily there, but not widely in the game. Yeah, I had them and the Aguero 5 goal captained. Yeah, it was...
So I think that particular day was just ridiculous. Yeah. So I mean, obviously the double game week is amazing, but in terms of just the sheer number of points from so many different places, I mean, we had people on like 120 points, pretty much just from those 2 matches. Because I think if you triple captained Aguero, and then you had Pella and Tadic as well. I mean, that was absolutely ridiculous. I think I just had Pella. I don't think I had Tadic, but yeah, that was a great day. I mean, there's been so many great moments over the last 10 years of FPL, and it's crazy how big it's got and where we're at now. Be interesting to see if in 10 years' time we're still here talking about, in 2023 when, I don't know, Ryan Sessegnon, the new Sessegnon, does exactly what the old one did.
I don't want to be here talking about Stefan Sessegnon's goal anymore. I want it to be overshadowed. It was like... many years ago, I saw a band Fugazi live, and I honestly believed I will never see a better live band. And then a few years later, I saw this band called John Spencer Blues Explosion, and I'd had seen a better live band then. And so that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for. It's like when you see a good gig, you want to see, you want to see better gigs, hopefully, and you want to see, we want to have better moments like that, and possibly more exciting births that aren't overshadowed by Aguero.
I'm sure there'll be loads. I mean, we should probably say if anyone has had a similar incident, then do let us know, because that would be fun to collate those and see how many people have had to balance the joy of a captain hat trick with.
I tell you, it would have been interesting to see 9 months after that Aguero 5-goal whether there were any more birds.
Let us know if that's happened for you as well.
But on that bombshell, let's hope we have some more Sessegnon moments and more Aguero moments to come this game week, and we can achieve our target of whatever we need to get that 200 points to avoid having a bad Christmas. But for now, David, thanks so much and good luck with your game week.
Yeah, and to you as well.